Hi everybody, the Mature Simmer here. Welcome back to TGC Tours as I continue to work to qualify. Yes, that is accurate. Did not unexpectedly, did not get a tour card last week, week 34, from Wing Spread Prairie Club, where we were doing the John Daly Cocktail Open. I ended up 45th out of 59. So certainly not anywhere within a point where it would seem reasonable, but they did cut things off at +6. So definitely, things need to go very, very differently for me to do this. Before I get going, I guess I'm going to give a little bit of background of what has been happening. So I've been spending the week, really, just working, trying to find out what I could, and again, make any improvements that I could, or at least get new information and so forth. So based on some of your recommendations and comments, I've certainly looked at things, looked at other YouTubers, maybe for a 50th time or something, because there are folks that I was suggested to look at that I've looked at before, and in some cases the result was the same. I just struggled really hard to see what I could take from it other than amazement of how good they were. But it did get me to the point where I did find a few people that were doing a little bit more explaining of what they were doing, what they were thinking, how they went about playing the game, and so forth. And that did offer some opportunities for learning. And also made some comments on some folks' videos, and probably the biggest breakthrough I had was a comment on a video that then they led me to another video that was on their channel that was about some tips directly and so forth. And one of the biggest tips was understanding what you really have in your bag and the loft and spin indicators that exist, which are the left and right stick, when you pull those up, and how those actually work versus how most of us perceive that they work, and that would include what I was assuming before. And so the biggest difference is the loft, which is the left stick. I had made a general assumption that if I push forward or up, that I'm always extending the reach, because it's gonna lower the trajectory, and it'll be moving more forward rather than up. And similarly with the spin, the thought was, well, if I add more spin, top spin, that will always extend the distance, and spinning backwards will always shorten it. And what it actually turns out is, for clubs above the wedges, that's mainly reversed, to the point of, on the driver, for example, if with the driver I have versus the 296 yards that it does at the base setting in the center, if I added full top spin to that, instead of going further, I would actually lose 34 yards, and it would only go 262 yards. And similarly, if I then kind of loft it higher, pull it down, I would gain a little bit as opposed to losing some. I'd gain 6 yards. That definitely would have impacted a lot of my game choices, because it was always, I need less yards. So I'd always be pulling back, and in many cases, especially in the drivers and woods, that actually had the opposite effect. Luckily it wasn't significant, but it was there. But similarly, adding some topspin, thinking I could get a little bit of extra distance on even irons, up until I got to like the 8 or 9 iron, I was actually shortening the distance and so forth. They encouraged, build a chart so that you know. So that's what I have. So I have that in Excel sitting on a screen next to mine here, so that as I go through, I can make some better choices, so forth. The other thing that was important was there was validation of some of my thinking, which on one hand is unfortunate, but on the other hand is good, because hey, it verifies I'm thinking correctly, and at least I won't be banging my head against a wall thinking there's some sort of understanding that I'm missing that other players have. And that was really the thing I am struggling with, which is the timing. The feedback I got from one of the really good players that responded back to me was that I was right. There's really nothing you can do other than experience to improve your timing. There's nothing specific about the game mechanics or anything. It's just finding a way that you can be consistent, and also sharing that everyone's going to find a different way. And so whatever works best for you, just stick with it and keep working on improving it. So those are kind of the thoughts I'm going to be going with as I go forward here. Hopefully that helps people understand. The other thing I'm going to do, because people have asked, is I'm going to basically talk out loud of what I'm thinking about in my shot selection and how I'm approaching it. Now, once again, rather than also constantly raising it when it happens, I'm going to be upfront here and say, if my timing goes off, obviously all that preparation for the shot and everything goes out the window, and I'm hoping, maybe getting that off my chest here now, as opposed to in the moment saying it, which invariably has, kind of a downer effect on my mentality as I'm saying it. Not that I'm going to suddenly stay perky the whole time when I'm shooting terrible shots. There's a little bit of a hope there that maybe acknowledging the fact that, hey, I did my best, I set it up, but hey, things didn't work out. Let's just go on to the next shot. That's kind of the thing. But therefore, aside from the fact that I probably spent 5 minutes or more here explaining all of this, episodes may be a bit longer from this point forward if I'm trying to do that. And the hope is that then those who do want to help and want to offer some suggestions might be like, well, I disagree with what you said here and so forth, and here's why. Because the feedback I was getting from a lot of people was, I don't know what you're thinking, and when you set the shot up, I was like yelling at the screen, like, what are you doing? And to some degree, I get what, I certainly get where they're coming from. But anyway, we're here on the Rolling Oaks Open, Cherry Brook Golf Club. I have at this point this week probably played this course 10 times. It's still challenging, it's still difficult, but again, the focus has been a lot more on shot timing than it, which is really what I think I need to work on. Obviously I've continued to use the putting approach that I've started last time, from again watching a couple putting videos and coming across one that I hadn't quite seen. That seems to be, keeping things reasonable. But even there, I've made a few little adjustments on exactly, just trying to be a lot more sensitive to exactly the power I need to try to not drift past the hole as much as I typically have. And that seems to be working as well, but let's see how things come together here. All right, so course defaults, fairways and greens firm, green speed fast, 8.1. That is the fastest I've seen on the default for any of the courses. I think 7.6 was the highest to date before this. All right, and we are on the far tees, low wind. We are very firm on the fairways, and the greens are a little lower with being moderate, and green speed is still fast, so I don't think that has changed.
Hi there, my name is John, and I'd like to welcome you to this event. Today we are starting things out with a par 5. Let's do this. It is time to drop this in the fairway.
All right, well, 534 yards off the tee. A little bit crazy, that's for sure. Let's just make sure I've got my timing as good as I can. Well, glad I did that here rather than off the tee. Ooh, I slipped. My fingers slipped there. All right, getting a little closer. So, still hard to get perfect. But, you know, it happens from time to time like that. But the key is just getting things a little bit more set here.
And with that, you
the fast is back, but, you know, oh well. I have found, you know, by being cleaner on the shots and so forth, even when things like this happen, I still have a good shot at par in a lot of cases, you know, because the issue is more on these shots now after the tee, you know, because I've been focused for so long on good tee shots, and I've gotten to the point where, again, can I execute 18 solid tee shots every round, every time? No, I'm not there yet, and, you know, maybe that's somewhere I'll never get, but I typically do tend to, you know, maybe have one or two bad shots. You certainly have had rounds where I've had 6 or 7 bad shots, but it certainly is. I've certainly been consistent enough for long enough that the majority of my tee shots are good. You know, but then the focus now has shifted to all the other shots as I approach the green. And again, one of the pieces of guidance that I've come across is, which is different than what I was doing, and I've seen a little bit of an improvement because I've only been doing it for 2 or 3 rounds. So I think some of it is just, again, internalizing it, doing it. But the tee shot, I can go with the animation a little bit more. Like I can go with the speed. And the other big piece, now that I mention that, I've seen multiple videos where people have said the only thing that matters with timing is your downswing, your forward swing. What you do when you pull back, if you sit and hold, if you do whatever, there's nothing involved in the timing that is like, oh, do you have a smooth back and forth or anything? It is strictly the downswing. So that has helped to eliminate me trying to adjust a bunch of things together and focus more. But on that downswing, they also said on shots like this, the timing is the same. Again, there was some disagreement between various YouTubers that commented on it of whether that's accurate, but the majority of folks, and then my own testing, as much as I could control things, seem to line up more with, it doesn't matter if you're shooting out of the bunker, it doesn't matter if you're shooting a chip shot, just keep the speed the same in the downswing, and that's going to get you closer to having decent shots every time. All right, so we're not going to quite make it here, but again, it is a 534-yard par 4. I've got obviously a little bit of wind to the left, so I'm aiming over here into the rough. You can't quite see the lie, but it's probably going to push a little bit in that direction as well, because I don't see it flattening out and doing anything until I get a little further. So that means I'm going to pull back a little bit here to compensate. And again, I can't go to a wood because in this case it wouldn't work, mainly because of the slope too, but it would go way down below 73 and 82%. So that's all the shots set up for this. Let's see what we can do here. Again, trying to maintain that same speed, and I got what I would say is a good swing, good timing. All right. The other thing, verified by, again, since it's one of the top players, I'm like, you know what? I'm certainly not going to argue. They don't do partial shots. They struggle with partial shots. Partial shots are just as challenging to them, so they always do full shots. And that's what they suggested. You know, just stick with that and adjust accordingly, you know, if you need to do that. So in this case, I'm going to pull back a bit. I don't know that I need to do anything with the spin. Alright, I mean, I knew it would be a little far because I was 98, 99%, but we're up here with a shot for birdie. We're downhill, pretty heavily downhill here at my feet. We've got beads at my feet barely moving where the ball is. You can see that line is just coming out from under the ball, so we don't have a lot there, but it moves a little faster in the center. So I think I want to compensate for it a little bit. I'm going to pull back a little bit more because I think the downhill's pretty substantial where I start out. The other thing I figured out, if I don't actually push forward, you can kind of go back and let it come back. I was always like nervous that I had to bring it back, but you don't. So again, feeling for where the power is, where I have it set. And let's see. Oh! Well, you can't get them all.
This one's a
but
3-foot putt.
I'd say that was a good attempt. Would I have loved to have had a birdie? Yes. But it is what it is. Alright. So this hole, I do always get it to whatever. I don't know the draw or the fade, but I, curve over to the left because that's the way it's headed. So I'm going to move this a little closer here so that we hopefully avoid running over. But other than that, that's the distance. Looks like it extended my distance a bit because of that move. That's interesting because 302 is the farthest that I have been able to get if I drew all the way down on that. It's interesting that when I went out, it's showing me that as well. Alright, well, the slow is going to straighten it out, sadly, a bit. But the bounce worked in my favor.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll take that. Alright, so we've got a gap wedge at 125. That's far short. 138, we're 147 from the pin. We've got 2 miles an hour of wind. Obviously, we've got that ridge there. Typically, I end up swinging a little more than 100%, so that will overpower it and get us further. So I think we're as good as we're going to get. We need to compensate for the lie a little bit there, and then we're going to go ahead and make the shot. The lie took it over further than I thought. I might not make that ridge. Okay, I've had just enough power to hop over it.
Okay, this one's 19 feet.
Alright, uphill a little bit, but just a little bit, so I'm not going to go that far. Beads moving to the left for the first 3 yards, and then they continue to move to the left, but a little bit less. So let's see. I'm going to go with that. I think, again, the goal is just get close, not necessarily in. In's always a bonus at this point. This is pretty far. So we'll see. Nah, oh well. Again, but hopefully an easy par. And then, we keep moving forward. Alright. Elevation increases 10. It's going to give us about 3 additional yards. So that means instead of going 182, we're only going to go 179. So we're basically going to be about 10 yards short. This is a 6 iron. I don't really have a way to do that. Let's see if I go to the 5 iron, which is 192. And then again, I'm still losing the 3, so that puts me at 189. If I want to go back some, I can go back here. So I'm going to do that. And then a couple yards for the wind, we're going to set up there. And once again, last time I'm going to say it here, but you know, in the round, just per what I said, all of this preparation is shot if I somehow don't get good timing. So, but if I shoot perfectly, this should get me close. Alright, not bad, but not great. So about pin high as we saw, but you know, it did come up a little higher than maybe I'd like.
It's a very long way from the hole still,
but alright.
You're on.
So
this is your look
a little bit downhill off the blade for a tiny bit, then we flatten out, then we go down a very significant downhill. So I am going to again pull back a little bit more than it's suggested. And the first half moves me to the right. Second half starts to move me back a little bit to the left, but I think we move more to the right than we do to the left later. So I'm going to go this way a little bit to compensate for that, and then hope when it comes back, it will then fall back in. I don't think I went over enough.
That's just gonna fly right by the hole, I guess.
Shoot, and that was that still went way more than I thought. Well, this could be this could be where I go over par. It's uphill, it's on the fringe. I still want to putt it. I don't want to chip it from here. I mean, I could, but I think I have a better chance getting it in putting. It's almost straight, but it seems like a little bit of a movement to the right as we get closer to the hole. So I'm gonna try that. I think I held it too long. Well, it worked. It might have been because the stick was in, but not sure if I didn't have the pin in, if that wouldn't have gone over. Alright. So, wind straight at me. Pretty simple. Just line it up. Give myself a little bit of forgiveness on either side. Ooh. Well, I didn't get a very slow, but not what I wanted on that, that's for sure.
It's all good. It's all good. It happens.
Yeah, I suppose. All right. Good news is it's the same off the club for each. So I can go ahead and go up to the woods because we don't... Yeah, I think I can clear that. I may be wrong. I don't know that I'd go to a 3-wood. Because, yeah, this is still going to be significantly short, but it's going to get me as close as I can by going this way. So that is what my thought is there.
It didn't feel as clean as I know you can hit it.
A little further over than I hoped. I do go bunker to bunker on some of these, but... Alright, I'm going to try a flop here. So that's going to take me down about 4 yards. So this should be exactly what I need. Let's see, can I tell what's happening over there? I'm going to go over this way a little bit. So this will be the first really big test of the timing. Let's see if I can do it. I'd say I did. So not bad.
This is potentially the safe par.
Alright. I'd like a couple easier ones, and more importantly, I'd like some birdies. Alright, so we got a little bit of down right off the blade, but then we level out. So it's really almost exactly to the hole is the power I need. Everything is moving to the left. It's moving quite a bit to the left to begin with. So let's see if we can get this read right. And again, that's the feedback that I've gotten, is just reading greens is just learning to read greens. There's nothing more to it, and even again watching the rounds of these great players, they get close, but a lot of times they miss same way that I'm missing. Difference is, you know, they don't mess up other shots.
All right. Let's sink this, grab the bogey,
Now
and
this should be
move on.
close enough, hopefully, that I can just power through it.
That was a good putt.
All right. Well, I'd prefer to not have had that be the result, but
one over par at the moment.
that is where we're at.
And teeing it up now in a par 5.
All right, a little bit of wind that way. I'm going to go this way. So I do tend to be fast. That was the other thing they kind of said, you know, if you can't get perfect, if you're consistent, that's the next best thing. And that way, if you know, you can somewhat compensate for it with like, well, you know, I'm probably going to end up fast, so let me give myself a little bit of grace on that side and see if that's enough. And now I hit it perfect, which again, it won't, you know, I didn't compensate so much that made it a bad shot, so that worked.
And second shot here on
All right,
the 5th.
4 yards will move it up. Oh, okay, so, and that's always important because, yeah, it wasn't at the full amount. So that's too far. This will probably be good without a whole lot of adjustment because I want to get in the ballpark. I'm not at the point where I can pinpoint things like some folks can. That's got to come with really, really getting my swing consistent, and then that will be my next focus, is really dialing in approaches and this and that. But right now, the focus is that timing. All right, once again, solid. Stay out of the bunker. Give me a bounce. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Doing all right this hole on the green, under regulation. That's good work.
All right. Downhill off the blade, pretty substantially downhill off the blade. Very little movement left and right. I'd almost say it's even, so I'm not sure. Because at the blade, I'm actually going left quite a bit, even though I have 2 beads heading to the right near the hole. I'm thinking it's going to move me, and then it'll move me a bit back. So I'm not going to waver at all. But I think the power's way too much. Because, yes, I need to go up, and yes, it's kind of uphill the whole way. Ah, boy, oh boy. This one's a little tougher. I don't want to fly by the hole, is my challenge. Oh, it's going to be off a bit, and I didn't fly by the hole. Wow. I think I was offline. I mean, maybe if I had hit it a little harder, it wouldn't have moved as much at the end. But at least we get a birdie. Yeah, I just didn't want to go down the hill. Speaking of going down the hill, this is way down, as you can tell. The entire fairway slopes way down. So I always back this one off to a 3-wood. You know, it's not 61. That's the one thing I wish we would get, but at the difficulty level, it won't show us right at this lie where I'm at. That is the hole that is 61 feet below, and we know it is below this point. So all we know is we're down a bit. Again, with the 2 mile an hour, I'm just going to leave it in the center. You know, if I hit it fast a little bit, the wind will push it back a tiny bit at 2 miles an hour. I mean, it really probably will have almost no effect, but we'll see.
Into this one.
All right, well, not a great shot.
Okay, we're in the deep rough.
But it took 6 holes, and that includes all my shots in between, to finally have one where timing was off, so I'll take that. All right, so we're losing 36. That's going to put me at, what, 140 something, so I easily need to go up here. We're going to lose 40, 160, but we're gaining 7, so we're going to be at 167. Now this is where I start to kind of look. I don't have a lot from the water. Okay, and it goes down too much, so I don't really have an option. Wow. I'm just worried I'm not going to clear the water. God, I should be okay, but it's going to be interesting. Because, yes, there's nothing I can apply on a 4-iron. So this is where I have new knowledge. I would have assumed, oh, I'll press forward on the loft, so I do that and then move the left stick up. Both up or down, any movement on this shortens my distance. So I don't, the furthest I can go with this club is this. And I guess because I haven't changed anything, like I can show you. See, I can move this, but on the difficulty, it still says 203. So, like, you have to know, the information ahead of time, which is where the suggestion was. Go somewhere and just basically figure out your distances. And, you're turning on the aids to do that in some cases. I'm still worried about this tree, too, but I think I'm going to clear that because the 4-iron's going to go up pretty well.
Well, that one wasn't super clean.
Oh, boy.
That shot got a little...
Shoot.
Bushy.
Ugh.
Oop, that one, yeah, that's in the water.
All right, well, we'll put it down here.
Rough at the moment.
This is not good. Not good at all. All right, gonna put some backspin on here, and we'll go from there. Oh no!
And that's a plunker.
Oh, I mean the timing wasn't horrendous.
And this is your 6th shot.
Oh, you know what? That was the other problem. I don't know that I noticed the 90-93. So that was a bit on me on that one. Wow, this is hurting. So that was, yeah, that was some strokes that I didn't need to lose. All right, all downhill. Mainly all to the left. All right. I think it's going to go way further. It is moving right here. And this one I always go way past. So I'm really going to pull back the distance here. And again, if I end up short, I end up short. But
oh, it could be.
Ooh, I didn't.
Oh.
And darn it, that was close.
All right, my only advice is to just sink this for quad and immediately forget about this one.
+4.
Teeing her up on the 7th hole.
All right, well, pretty straightforward here, just right back at me.
That there is a slice.
Oh, wow. All right, so again, I can only write this off as subconscious nerves because, again, I know I'm up at 4. I know I have those problems. Let's see. We're going to lose 8 yards. All right. We're going to, again, counterintuitively, but on a wood, I want to go forward to shorten my distance some. So that's what I'm going to do. All right, good solid shot here. All right.
Nicely played.
And so again, that is what has helped with understanding those distances, where otherwise I would have pulled back, and again, it doesn't add a lot of distance, but it does add distance, and then I'd be sitting there like, what? Why did it do that? Now I understand, because they had that information for me. All right, this is moving a lot. And it's mainly flat. I mean, it's a little bit down, so I think if I go right to the hole, like, that shouldn't be too much pace. It should be okay. Come on. Ah.
Just
All right.
This one's for par.
All right, this one's definitely a power through. Won't go all the way to the edge. That's a suggestion from one of the commenters, too, of why am I tempting fate, going right to the edge, and then I mishit a little and then it lips out. So, certainly logical to me. All right, we're going to gain 9 yards on the elevation. That's going to take me from 125 to 134. That gets me really close to the hole. Just to be sure, we'll go back a bit to stick it. And that should hopefully be good.
You made good contact.
All right, let's see where we end up. I'd say that was good.
Oh, that's what you want.
That is what I want.
Comes a 3-footer.
A little bit of movement, so we'll just make sure there.
See what we can do on the next
All right,
hole.
get ourselves a birdie again. Get us down to +3.
Well, let's let this fly here on the 9th.
All right. Pretty straightforward. So again, I don't want to waste everybody's time by commenting where I don't need to comment. You know, could I have gotten a straighter shot?
Setting up around
Sure.
215 yards out.
Is it okay? Sure. All right, we're going to lose about 2 yards, so 210 to 208. Plus, we're going to lose, say, 3-ish, because it's not right at us with the wind. So that will put us at 205. A 4-iron will easily go that far. The big question is going to be, am I going to hit the rough or something and get a bounce I don't want? So I think even though this will put me further from the pin, I think the smart move, especially since I may, again, tend to hit a fast, is to go that way to get a better shot. You know what? I'm going to compensate more, because I always do this and I end up in that bunker. And I get I'd love to do something a little bit different than this, but it's just not realistically going to happen.
On that swing.
It was. That's now 3 bad tee shots.
That's okay. That's okay. We'll go
All
on
right,
the green.
we're out of
maybe
the
on
bunker,
no shot.
though. All right, going to a flop is going to be too far. This is where it's tough, because I'd really rather not do a chip, because it still is a bit finicky with how it does things. I'm going to really slow it down when it gets up there. So there we go. We got the full slow, but, well, and it didn't, but at least it was a
Okay, this one
decent
is
timing
par.
with, again, not trying to go with the animation, but just going with the feel for the swing. All right, downhill all the way. Nothing super fast, so I'm not going to go crazy with it. I don't like that this is a par. Let's see. Moved more than I thought.
Oh my goodness.
And that's still with the downhill, that was a lot.
All right, the putt goes down. There's your bogey. Okay,
All right,
currently
well,
sitting
front
at
9.
4 over. Okay,
Front
teeing
9
up
behind
now
us.
On the 10th hole.
All right, straight ahead. Again, because of the fast, I'm going to move a bit. All right, now I hit a slow. So, you know, best laid plans, but that's all right. Oh, it just got there. That's all right. Just barely in the rough, so we'll take it. All right, so 9-iron, 112 but down, so I'm losing about 5. So that'll put me at 107-ish. And then with the 9-iron, in this case, if I want to gain a little distance, I want to go up, and that is what I'd like to do. All right. Let's see. Oh, more distance than I wanted. Darn it.
Should do nicely.
I was not expecting that kind of a rollout on a 9-iron. Wow. So, Alright, way downhill to begin with. Slight move to the left from the first bead. So I want to compensate for that a bit. Let's see if this will work. Probably not hard enough. Not hard enough. Darn it.
And right now you sit at 4 over.
Well.
All right, let's see what happens on.
It's all live and learn, right? Little learning experience there. All right, the 4 iron's way too far back. So what can we do with the 5 wood here? So, again, counterintuitively, that will shorten my distance some. And then, similarly, forward spin should shorten me some as well. So between those two, hopefully we end up close. Oh, that's not going to be good.
Heading towards the water. Okay, third shot.
Yeah. Alright, well, we're going to do the same thing for the same reasons. Oh my god. Alright, I'm definitely in my head now. So, I may, again, be costing myself. Wow, can I even get across the water here? Oh boy. I mean, there's not really an alternative, but... Wow. Okay, yeah, that's too much. Alright, well, that's as good as I'm going to get. Alright, thank goodness. I'm like, I just need to be across the water.
Okay, setting up here on the green side rough.
Alright, let's see. I'm just going to move over that way, so I'm going to do that. Oh, my timing. Again, I was in my head there. Not good. That was a little better, although it was very fast, but
28 feet away.
Wow. Yeah, I may have cost myself the round at this point, but we're going to keep working at it, because nothing else, we get the strokes in over the event. I don't think it's going to move that much, and it's pretty much level. So, it's not going to move that much.
We're approaching the shot limit on this hole. Hopefully we can get this one to go.
Yeah, I know.
Right, 9 over par for the day.
Wow, so yeah, now I need... And this is where, again, it gets difficult. Like, as much as I try not to think about it, like, I know the reality. I mean, I have to just shoot really, really well. And I think I'm just not good enough to not let that affect me. And that's, again, the demons that I've got to wrestle with. Alright. Wow. Well, I think we stay out of the... Well, maybe not. No, okay. I'm like, I think we stay out of the bunker at least. But, let's see. This should be able to be flopped. So... I'm going to lose 6 yards, plus 2 yards for the elevation. So... we literally would land right by the hole. The wind's usually not really an impact from this distance. Alright. Oh, I still got a very fast. Interesting.
Right, we can sink this, snatch a birdie, and be on our way.
No, that was a par... Oh. I swore it was a par 4, and... Okay, well, I'll take it. Got a birdie. Pulled 1 stroke back. Just do them one at a time. 630. I hate this hole. This one's crazy far.
Not the greatest of contact on that one.
How is that going that far over with the fast? I mean, it wasn't... It shouldn't have been that crazy of a shot, but clearly it was. Alright, this should end up on the fairway. Alright. Again, we make the best of what the hand we're dealt. That's kind of how golf works.
Okay, this one's about 135
Alright,
to the pin.
we're going to lose 2-ish yards. It is a pitching wedge. Spin it back a bit. And we'll pull it back a bit. I know it's making my forgiveness range a bit tight, but I either get it near or it's going to be a mess anyway. Alright, well, as good a shot as I could make on that.
This might end up in
That
some
is
trouble.
not where I wanted it. Man,
Well, nothing wrong with
that was
Get
further
it up
than
on
I
green.
expected. Alright, all the way downhill. So we are definitely pulling it back. But it's gentle downhill in theory. And then we're moving to the left. So I keep going too much. So I am going to leave it there, even though I think I want to go a little more. But again, just trying to learn
Looking really good.
from what I'm doing. Oh, now I didn't go enough. Ay, ay, ay.
Left. Okay, that putt's done. All right, that leaves you at 8 over par. And here we go on hole number
So,
14.
as you figured out, a lot of more water on this course than I've had the last few. So, it does obviously create the challenge. I think the 7-iron is going to be a better one for me, or the 9-iron, I'm sorry. Alright, good shot. Somewhat
Well, I think this one's
online.
around the dance floor.
Okay.
You're gonna like that, won't
And
you?
on par 3s, those are always
away.
wonderful. Alright, downhill, this is a little beyond the power through it, plus I don't know that I want to power through it downhill. Alright, I hate these when they're moving like this close. I'm going to go there. I may regret
This
it.
one's tracking.
Uh,
Ever so close to get
a
that
little bit
birdie.
light.
And that's 8 over par.
I mean, it had the distance, but
Teed it
that
up
again
on par 4 for this
created
one.
more of it pulling on the brake than I would have otherwise. All right, well, at least we're over. We're in the garbage
Going to
over
the
here.
beach. All
Well,
right, let's get out of this first cut. And,
I do tend to roll out of these bunkers more than any other course I've seen because they are just kind of flat, shallow bunkers. All right, we're going to lose, say, a yard. Put me to 98, then we're going to lose 6. And the yard is for the wind, I'm sorry. 98, and then about 6 more for the elevation, so that puts me at 92. But again, there's always a little bit more power. Oh, but wait, we're losing. This is what I screwed up on before. All right. Oh, boy, that's a big jump. Because we're going 93%. So I'm down, say, 8. So it's going to put me at 104. And we're going to lose 6. It's going to put me at, what, 98? Then another yard or 2 for the wind. But I think this is a better choice than the alternative. All right, and we've got some lie compensation there. All right, good timing. That's the big one. All right, we got a
Good job,
decent
Rory.
roll.
Green. Here we go. This is for birdie.
All right, lots of movement to the right. Uphill, but not that much. Ooh. Is it enough? Ah.
Oh, no, it's right there.
Yeah, see, I could have pulled back on the distance
Good luck
more
here,
than I
9
did.
feet away.
All right, this is all downhill now. And pretty much straight on. I mean, there's a bit, if it's moving to the left. So we're going to try it this way.
Oh, it's getting there.
All right.
Good job, you're in there with a par. And that's 8 over par at the moment.
So,
And
not
ready
bad.
to tee off here on the 16th hole.
All right. I'm going to leave it there. Because even if it moves it, if I hit perfect, it won't be that much. But again, if I hit it fast, at least I'm not already pushing myself to the left. Okay, like I said, if I hit it perfect, no biggie. I'll still be on. I got plenty of room here.
We've got about 235 from here.
All right, we're going to lose 10 yards because of the elevation. We're going to head over because of that, so I think that should do it for me. Oof. Not bad, but fast, so pulls it even further over.
This one's your third.
All right, so I'm going to lose 9 yards. That'll put me at 35. But we're going to lose about a yard. I'm going to go with this, though. I think it'll be good. And then the lie, I'm going to go over here. Ooh.
All right, let's pop this in. Birdie putt.
Downhill pretty much the whole way. A little bit over. Come on, come on. Oh, it stopped. It was moving and then it stopped moving. Which again is what the bead showed, but did not guide it in. Did not visualize it the way it went. Alright, we're going to lose about 4 yards back, plus another yard, so say 5. So it's going to put me at 166. This would put me, again, we're losing 5-ish. Alright, a 6 iron. Well, even though I hate what this shows, it's telling me go forward to lower my distance, because I would think I'd want to backspin, but that's saying it's going to add some yardage, so I don't want to do that. Well,
come on, ball.
I think that's the 4th poor shot off there.
Let's be careful with that chip.
Alright, we're going to lose a little bit there. Definitely the lie is a bit insane here. Not as insane as I thought.
Wouldn't it be nice to save par here?
It would be, but man, that is a long way. Pretty much even. So I'm going to get close, but not too far. And we're going to try this. Too fast. Still too fast. Oh boy.
8-footer here in front of us.
Alright, and downhill a bit, so man, that is moving a lot.
This putt's going.
Okay.
There it is.
Another bogey.
I'm currently sitting at 9 over.
Again, definitely not getting what I'd like to get.
This hole is a long par 4 hole.
Alright, good distance. A little bit fast again. We're not going to clear it.
For the beach.
Really thought I'd get through.
Piece out of this sand.
But a good lie. 89, 97%. So, okay, I'm going to go up that far. And we're going to say that's what we need. It looks like it's laying up on a hill. So even though I can't tell, I'm compensating for it that way is why I'm doing what I'm doing. Well, I think it was, given the way it
Get a
took
wrong
off,
turn,
but the
heading
very
to the right.
fast doesn't help.
Setting up for our third shot.
All right, with the elevation change and the bit of lie, you know, the 92-95%, this I think is where I want to be on my power. A little further over than I'd like,
Okay,
but
this one to save the hole.
all right, downhill. So I definitely don't want to overdo it, and it's going to be off the blade a little bit that way.
Well, the putt appears to be on line.
Oh my goodness.
Just a little too much pace on that one.
A little bit.
And this one's 7 feet away.
So another bogey.
By, didn't it? Just like that. The putt dropped in your
Plus
round.
10. I mean, I did have 3 birdies, but so
All right, this one's all done, and it's gonna be
again, my feedback on the round,
well,
I think I did quite well on having decent shots, especially on the approaches. 4 or 5 poor tee shots didn't help. But again, I think I got myself, for the most part, other than the 2 holes I really ended up way off on, where I hit in the water twice on the one, and just kind of had a real big mess on the other. You know, I could have easily shaved 5 strokes off there for that. So decent play. Again, obviously I'd love to make it at some point, but right now my focus just needs to be about solid play. And I think overall it was pretty solid. I mean, I had a couple holes that got away from me, and that is always enough to screw up things, but you know, we'll see how it all goes. But you know, again, love folks' feedback. See what you're seeing. Let me know, and hopefully, again, especially, you know, is it too much commentary about what I'm thinking? Does this now help you at least provide feedback in a way that's like, nope, yeah, I agree with what you did. You just, hey, you didn't have a good swing or whatever. But you know, again, if there's anything like the piece I'm off on, you know, where hey, I'm hitting fast more often than I'm hitting anything else. You know, I've done everything, and I've been doing those type of things to try to change it. But the likelihood, and most people say, you know, you start like, say, recalibrating your swing or something, and you're basically starting over and trying to learn again. And so their suggestion tends to be just understand what you do in your game, and as long as you're kind of doing the same thing consistently, you can adjust based on that. And that's kind of the guidance from the better players that I've heard is, you know, chasing things and trying to get everything dialed in with settings tends to be something where you're just going to, you know, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. So that you're better off just getting that timing consistent, which I think I've done much better at in this round, especially on the approach shots. I mean, usually I'd be very soft, very slow, very fast, all over. I'd be spraying it across the fairway all the way up to the bunker, and then struggling to get pars. Still was struggling to get pars, so things didn't change in that front. It still took me the same number of strokes. The other thing I had changed, and I'm going to try to remember in the second round to mention it to begin with, one of the other things was looking at the fittings. You know, there were some suggestions of that there's some good players that have, hey, what's in my bag and how do I have things set and why? So again, I found one player, again, with the explanations they gave, they resonated with me, and so I ended up putting more power into my driver, which lowered my timing, but they felt if your timing is 70 or higher, that is enough. So that was very different than what I had, because I had my timing up in the upper 90s, might have actually been at 100. And so switching that out, because I had such a heavily weighted timing fitting, it took me down to like 74 from 100. So I lost like 26. But I'm trusting that they're saying, you know, and again, I had 4 shots that were off, but you know, I don't know that that's any more than I would have had otherwise, but it increased my distance by almost 22 or 23 yards by adding that power. So that's why my driver is at 296. So they said drivers and woods, you want to weight toward power, and then everything else weight toward timing. So I already had that on the irons. They were, you know, I had pretty much everything weighted to timing, and I may want to make some changes on some of the woods, or on the woods, because I do have a pretty big gap of 296 to 249 between my driver and my 3-wood. But once again, with some of the changes, like I could de-loft, I guess is the phrase I've heard, basically raise the loft up. That gets my driver down to 262, which gets it really close to the 249 and slash 251 with adjustments max that I can do on the 3-wood. So they're within like 10 yards of each other, which is kind of what you want to do. So I think I'm actually not in a terrible spot there. But in any event, that's where we sit after round 1. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you have, please drop a like. I'm probably going to post this early. Normally I do Tuesday through Friday, but because I've had really nothing coming out because of my focus offline trying to improve and just figure out what I want to work at, because it's the Memorial Day holiday here, I'll have time to play some and edit some. So I think I may actually put things up this week, Monday through Thursday, to get these rounds up and you know, get this event out there for people to look at, and then we'll go from there. But if you're not a subscriber yet, please consider that, and I will see you next time.